Going on with today's topic, right? And this is something I get asked all the time, very frequently, right? It's a frequent frustration for job seekers because everyone tells everyone, right? Hey, if you're a job seeker, you need to be on LinkedIn. Go on LinkedIn. Hey, LinkedIn's where the action's at. Hey, I heard about so and so. They were on LinkedIn. They got a job in like 2 days or something like that. We all hear about these stories, right? So, but that being said, the biggest frustration I hear from a lot of job seekers, and let me know in the comments, folks. I'm very curious to hear from all of you tuning in the comments. How is your success on LinkedIn in terms of messaging people? Are you getting responses? Are you actually getting into conversations with people? I really want to know that from all of you tuning in on LinkedIn, on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, as well as on Instagram over here, my friends on Instagram. Feel free to let me know in the comments, folks. How are you? First of all, are you sending out messages on LinkedIn? Are you making use of LinkedIn messaging? And secondly, how is the response rate? Do you feel you're getting responses? Do you feel people are in general ignoring your messages, not getting back to you? What's your situation? Because before I talk about today's topic, I really want to kind of get a quick survey from everyone tuning in. Because A, I want to know if that really is a frustration for a lot of you, and B, I want to make sure I'm hitting, whatever those pain points are in regards to the messaging. So I'll give it a few seconds, folks. I want everyone to let me know in the comments. What's your messaging strategy? What are you doing to message people, right? Recruiters, hiring managers, peers in your industry. What's your strategy? How are you formulating your messages? How are you structuring your messaging? And what's the response like? Are you actually getting results from this? So let me know in the comments. I'm going to give it a few seconds for that. And don't be shy, by the way. I do see there's I think there's let me check how many of you. Yeah, there's 26 of you. Right? So don't be shy. Let me know in the comments what your experience has been in the messaging, because I'm very curious to know. In the meantime, a few more shout outs here while you guys put that in the comments. We got Rohan here from the 6. All right. The 6 is definitely in the house. Thanks for tuning in, Rohan. Appreciate you joining in for the first time. So I hope that I'm able to provide you with good value on today's stream, Rohan. Appreciate you tuning in. Kanchan from Saga. Saga's in the house. Thanks for tuning in, Kanchan. Shout out to Kanchan. And Vidi, hey Vidi, from Toronto, awesome. Shout out to Vidi as well. Thanks for tuning in. So I'm not seeing the comments coming in. So I'm assuming either you guys are really shy, or you're not making use of the LinkedIn messaging, right? To actually write messages to recruiters, to hiring managers, hiring committees, hiring teams. Hiring teams could be, I don't know, like someone at a peer-to-peer level, right? Someone at the same level of the organization as you. Could be team leads, could be managers, senior managers, directors, VPs, even C-level executives. Are you sending messages, folks? Because if you're not making use of LinkedIn messaging as part of your job search strategy, as part of your arsenal, then you're not making good use of the platform, right? And that's the whole point I'm trying to make here is you got to make good use of the platform. Sorry, I'm trying to adjust this my phone here as well. Now, I'm not saying depend entirely on LinkedIn messaging. That's not what I'm saying, folks. What I'm saying is this should be part of your arsenal. It should be part of one of your strategies that you're utilizing for your job search, right? And for those of you who are new to following me, you're going to hear me say this all the time. There's no magic bullet. You got to use all the bullets. You got to use every avenue available to you to get yourself in front of the right people, recruiters, hiring managers, all these individuals that you want to get in front of for your job search, right? So we got a comment here from Vidi. So Vidi, I appreciate you sharing your experience. So Vidi says, yes, I reached approximately 15 people and 2 of them replied. Awesome, Vidi. I gave an introduction about my experience and looking for opportunities. Yeah, perfect. Perfect example there. Thanks for sharing that, Vidi. We got Anjali here. Anjali says, hi, Dean. I'm a recruiter based out of Toronto. I'm laid off due to COVID. Yeah, sorry to hear about that, Anjali. For the past 6 months, I'm applying for roles, but no luck. I can't contact people on LinkedIn. They respond, empathize, and then they ask me to apply on the company website. Okay, gotcha, Anjali. Okay, got it. All right, so I mean, only 2 comments. So I'm going to assume the rest of you don't want to share your experiences, which is fine. I totally get that. I know it might be kind of nerve-wracking to put yourself out there in public. But shout out to Vidi and Anjali for putting themselves out there. I appreciate you two for sharing that. So look, first thing, folks, before I get into how you should be structuring your message. So what I'm going to be doing today is I have 5 reasons why people might not be responding to your LinkedIn messages, right? And this is a session you need to be taking notes. So make sure you got your pen and your paper or whatever the case is. If you're high tech, you got your iPad or your phone ready to take notes, right? Because I'm going to be going over five primary reasons why, or five primary things your messages are lacking on LinkedIn, which can result in people not paying attention to you, right? Not responding to your message, not even considering you, not even getting into communication. Now, before I get into today's tips, folks, nothing is 100% foolproof. Now, the advice I'm going to be sharing with you today does not mean you're gonna send one message or a couple of messages and every single person is going to respond. That's not. I'm not going to make any such guarantee. What I do guarantee is it's going to increase your chances, increase your odds of getting a response to your LinkedIn messages, right? So, without further ado, now and by the way, before I get into the 5 things you're not doing in your messages, before I get into that, kind of a preamble to that is, you need to be reaching out to the right people, right? If you're reaching out to people that are irrelevant to the in terms of your skill set, right? If I'm a recruiter, by the way, I'm reaching out to someone in let's say I'm a recruiter, right? I'm trying to get in touch with an organization to put myself in front of a recruitment position. If I'm reaching out to the accountant at the company, that might not be the most effective means of getting into the company, right? You guys get my point? Unless that accountant is, of course, someone in my network or someone I was introduced to by someone else, that might get me an introduction to someone else, in a relevant area within the company. That's a different story. I'm not talking about that. But what I'm saying is, if I'm randomly doing a cold approach, right? A cold approach, meaning this is someone I don't know, I was not introduced to, but I'm sending messages. You got to make sure you're reaching out to the right people, folks. Now, who are the right people, right? The right people would be definitely, people in the internal recruitment team. Definitely people who might be potentially on the hiring team, or could be potentially people that are somehow related to the division or the department that you're trying to get into. So for step number 1, before we even get to the messaging, is, are you reaching out to the right people? Are you identifying the right people to reach out to before you're even doing your messaging? So this is where some legwork comes into play. There's no easy peasy way for you to kind of do this. This is where you do have to do some legwork, right? Otherwise, you're going to be depending purely on the numbers game. It is a numbers game to a certain degree, but not. If you're purely playing the numbers game, it's not efficient use of your time, folks. So first and foremost, to get the best return on investment on the messaging you're sending, first of all, you need to identify: am I reaching out to the right people, and who are the right people within the organization to reach out to? That's step number 1. So assuming you do all of that, and you have to do that, don't get lazy on me, guys. Folks, do not get lazy on me, right? Because we all have a set number of hours per day to dedicate to our job search, right? More difficult for you if you're currently employed, by the way, right? You have less time to dedicate to your job search. So I want all of you making efficient use of your what you're doing in your job search. So step number 1, again, identify the right relevant people you need to be reaching out to at the organizations which interest you. That's step number 1. Now, 5 reasons why no one responds to your LinkedIn message, right? You got to be taking notes now. Reason number one, most of you do not get responses to your resume, to your LinkedIn messaging is, number 1, there's no clear value proposition. A lot of no clear value proposition. Now, does everyone know what a value proposition is? So just in case, I'm going to do a quick definition, right? For those of you who might not know what is a value proposition, I'm going to go with like a proper, official definition, right? A value proposition is a promise of value to be delivered, communicated, and acknowledged. It is also a belief from the customer about how value will be delivered, experienced, and acquired. A value proposition can apply to an entire organization or parts thereof, or customer accounts or products or services. And although it's not mentioned in this definition, definitely to individuals, folks, individuals such as ourselves, right? And a lot of you are lacking this value proposition in your LinkedIn messaging. You're not communicating your value. Now, as you know, working in recruitment recently myself, and now currently being in more so on the job search coaching side of things, I get a lot of messages, right, from job seekers. Over the years as a recruiter, and currently, now that I'm doing job search coaching as well. And I can tell you, folks, a lot of you are talking, you mentioned your title, right? You're like, hey, Dean, I'm a business analyst with 8 years of experience. Let me know about new opportunities. Like, that's a very typical message I usually get from people. Or who can you refer me to? Or who can you connect me with? No value proposition is communicated, folks. Like, how do you expect to get people's attention if you're not communicating your value somehow, right? It's a very generic message, and think about it from the standpoint of a recruiter or hiring manager, or these various people that you might be reaching out to. How many messages do they get that have the exact same format, right? Hey, I'm a business analyst. I'm a project manager. I'm a data analyst. Can you refer me to someone, or hey, can you let me know if you come across any opportunities that will be a fit for me? You're not communicating any value, folks. Zero value. So that's the number one reason why. Well, I wouldn't say the number one reason why, but definitely one of the top reasons why you're not getting responses to your messages, because there's no value proposition. There's no clear value proposition. Aside you from stating your title is not a value proposition. It's not going to communicate your value. It doesn't say anything. Because recruiters, HR people, hiring managers, all these people, we get these messages all the time, right? So you saying you're a business, hey, I'm a business analyst. Let me know if you have any opportunities. Firstly, that message, and not to offend some of you there, but look, if this is your first time tuning in, you're gonna see Dean keeps it very real. Like I don't sugarcoat things. I'm just gonna say it as it is, right? If you're writing a message like that, hey, I'm a business analyst, 8 years of experience, I'm looking for new opportunities. Can you let me know about new positions? That's just lazy, folks. That's a lazy message. And maybe it's not your intention to be lazy. I know a lot of you, that's not your intention. Most of you tuning in, you're not lazy people. But that's what it comes across when you send a message like that. There's zero effort into communicating your value, right? So that's mistake number one. No clear value proposition communicated in your message, right? And I advise all of you after this session, do a quick Google search on value proposition, right? Because that's an important definition you need to be aware of and know what that is and what that communicates. So make sure you do that. So that's mistake number one. No clear value proposition communicated in your message. Now, mistake number two, no clear intention. There's no clear intention in your message, right? A lot of you tuning in, you're not communicating a clear intention. Like, why are you reaching out? What's your intention? What do you want? Right? So this is not being communicated in your message. And because of that, there's, the person on the other end doesn't know, first of all, what are you trying to do? Like, why are you reaching out? What exactly do you want? Like, these are all unanswered questions. And it's not being communicated. A lot of you might send a message, hey, Dean, I'm giving you typical examples, by the way, folks. These are not exaggerations. Like, these are typical messages I get. If you're sending these kind of messages out, don't be offended. Don't feel bad. The reason you're in this session is to learn, right? You want to learn. And so what you got to do is don't take offense, put your ego aside, put your pride aside, learn something from it and make changes and apply those changes, right? So mistake number two is no clear intention, right? So a typical message I get is, Dean, I'm a business analyst. I'm reaching out because I'm on the market for new business analysis opportunities. Looking for guidance, right? That's a typical message I get. What does that mean, guys? What does that mean? Like, I don't know what that means. What kind of guidance? Like, what are you asking for? What do you want, right? You need to communicate this in your message. You need to be very clear about that. Now, again, this does not guarantee, just because you let people know what you want does not mean they're going to respond just because of that, but it's going to increase the effectiveness of your message, right? That's the point I'm trying to make. So if there's no clear intention, what do you want, right? Like that's what the person's wondering. Like, there's no clear intention. They don't have the time to be Sherlock Holmes and figure out what you want, folks. People are busy, right? Especially people who are employed and, again, HR people, recruiters, hiring managers, directors, managers, senior managers, VPs, C-level executives. These are busy people you're reaching out to. They do not have time to figure out or solve it like it's a puzzle, right? They don't have time to figure out what you want. So you got to be clear about what your intention is. What's your intention? Right? Think about whenever you get a phone call from someone, right? And let's not even talk about work stuff. Have you ever everyone has this friend, right? Who calls them and they want something, but they're not telling you what they want. What are you thinking the entire time in that conversation? You're always thinking, okay, what does so-and-so really want? I know they're not calling me just to find out, how I'm doing or how I'm preparing for the winter and all this stuff. Right? They have an intention, but they're not being upfront about the intention. So what are you doing through the entire conversation? You're not even paying attention to the conversation or to the message in this case. You're just wondering, what does this person even want? And if they're not clearly communicating it, you're either going to move on to something else, you're going to let them know you're busy, or you're just not going to respond at all, right? So think about it in that sense, folks, right? And this is, again, mistake number two you're making in your messaging is no clear intention. There's no clear intention to your message. which is again having people skip over your message or kind of move on, right? Because nobody, a lot of the people you're reaching out to, again, busy people who don't have time to waste, right? They don't have time for chit chat and small talk and all that stuff. So you got to be clear about what your intention is, and that'll. Now the downside of that, sorry, excuse me. The downside of that, of course, is when you're clear with your intention, it's possible some people might not be interested in furthering the conversation with you, right? But on the positive side, when you're clear with your intention, it lets the other person know exactly what you want, and they know that it's going to be a very focused discussion and conversation and communication with you, and they'll be more likely to want to get in touch with you. You win some, you lose some, folks, right? So that's how it is. So that's mistake number 3. Now, mistake number 2. Now, mistake number three, a lot of people are making when they're sending out the LinkedIn messaging is your messaging does not capture attention, right? And I kind of touched on this, I believe, in number 1 when I was talking about value proposition, because value proposition is a way to capture attention. But overall, a lot of messages being sent out do not capture attention. Nothing that makes the person read it and say, whoa, or wow, that's interesting, or hey, that's something I'd be interested in, right? When I say I'm talking about the receiver of the message, right? A lot of you are thinking about yourself when you're sending out the messages, but how many people are thinking about the receiver of the message, right? You can't expect everyone to be all gung-ho about helping you find jobs, folks. Like, I understand your situation. A lot of you are experiencing tough times right now in your job search, but the reality is, so is everyone else, folks. A lot of people out there, even people employed, concerned about whether or not they're going to have a job next week, the next month, or even the month after. Like, who knows? And who knows what other issues, people might be facing, right? So this is where you got to make sure, again, are you capturing attention? Are you capturing the attention of the receiver of your message, right? And this is where you got to be kind of creative. Like, what would capture their attention? It's not necessarily something about yourself. Could be something to do with them, right? Could be something you noticed on their profile, their message, their profile, their LinkedIn profile, right? Maybe a project they mentioned, maybe some post that they submitted, maybe I don't know, something on their profile, right? That might capture attention. Remember, folks, people are most interested in themselves, right? And I don't mean, and I'm not saying that people are selfish. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is people really appreciate when you mention, when it shows that you've taken the time to read about them or read about their profile or their post and things like that. And you're showing that you notice something and you're mentioning something about them, that could be something in itself that could capture attention. Or maybe it's some position that they're hiring for, which although, from your perspective, it has to do with you, it actually has to do with them because they have a problem, right? They have a problem at their organization. They want to hire someone. They want to bring someone on board. And that's why at that point in time, your profile interests them because it actually interests them, right? Because it's in relation to some problem that they have at their organization. So mistake number 3 is your message does not capture attention. You're not mentioning anything or noting down anything or talking about something that really, boom, captures their attention. Nothing. There's no kick to your message, right? It's very stagnant, very stale, very, very standard. Nothing that really, makes the other person get curious or want to get into a further conversation with you, right? So all of you need to be thinking about, how can I capture attention with my message? What can I add to my message that can really capture attention? Because that's another major missing component of the messaging, right? Now, mistake number 4. Moving on to mistake number 4 is there's no really clear. How can I put this? No clear communication as to what's in it for the other person. That's the best way I could put it, right? It's not clearly communicated. Whatever it is you're messaging them about, right? Let's say you're messaging them about you're asking them for like 5 minutes or 10 minutes of their time. Maybe you're asking them to refer you to someone that they know, or you're interested in some position there, and all that stuff. But how does it connect to them? How does it benefit them? Right? I remember taking this class. I think it was back in like university or something, and I think it was like one of those elective classes, right? And I majored in IT, by the way. And you got to take these elective classes that have nothing to do with your degree. So I think I took this class about, I think it was like marketing or communications or something. And I remember the lecturer, the professor, doing this presentation, and something that they said that always stood out to me was, they said everyone's favorite radio station is WIIFM. WIIFM. Everybody taking notes, write that down. I'm going to explain to you in a few seconds what that means. Everyone's favorite radio station is WIIFM. Some of you might have heard of this, right? What is WIIFM? What's in it for me, right? That's WIIFM. What's in it for me? So every time you message someone, you got to figure out a way, folks. And you know what? Sometimes there might not really be a WIIFM, right? It might be purely about something that, you want to network with them, or you want to, get into a conversation with them, or get in touch with them, whatever the case, or you want to mentor or something like that. Even in those scenarios, there is a way to position it so that there is something in it for them. But overall, when you're sending out a message, folks, you need to figure out, does your message communicate a WIIFM for the recipient, for the person you're reaching out to? What's in it for them? You're asking for 5 minutes of their time. Okay, great. Congratulations. But what's in it for them, folks? Why would they want to drop everything in their personal schedule? Forget about all those phone calls in the past where somebody wanted 5 minutes from them and completely wasted their time, and it ended up being like a 1 hour phone call. How are you going to get them to forget about all of that? Drop their day-to-day, whatever they're doing. Forget about, their own concerns and their own problems, and get on a phone call with you for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever it is. Now, some of you might be thinking, yeah, but Dean, that's only 5 minutes. Yeah, folks, 5 minutes can very, very easily turn into like half an hour, 45 minutes, simply because they don't want to be impolite and hang up on you after they do get you on a phone call. So you still got to communicate what that WIIFM is. What's in it for me, right? Of course, you got to think about it in their perspective, right? Not what's in it for you as the candidate, right? We already know what you want, right? What I'm talking about is you need to put yourself in their shoes, the recipient's shoes, and figure out in some way how the phone call, the conversation, the networking chat, or whatever it is you're trying to get in touch with them about, how is it going to benefit them? Now, if you're reaching out to them regarding a job opportunity, pretty simple to figure out the what's in it for them, right? Because they potentially have a problem at their organization, right? Assuming you're reaching out to someone on the hiring team or HR or the recruitment, they have some problem at their organization, which has prompted them to set aside budget and hire someone to come in and solve the problem. That's the WIIFM for them, right? That's what they're going to get out of it, is speaking to a potential candidate. That is to say, you, right? You, who might potentially come in and solve the problem. That's the WIIFM in that case. Now, the challenge is when you're trying to do, a lot of you are doing these informational interviews, these networking calls, you're asking people for like 10, 15 minutes of their time. You got to figure out what's the WIIFM for them, right? If it's just a networking call, right? You want to meet with them, you want to get information and this and that. Great. That's great for you. But what's in it for them? Why should they set aside 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, maybe even 45 minutes to an hour to help you out, right? So this is where you got to get creative. You got to think about, how you can communicate in your message, what they can potentially get out of it themselves, right? Now, some people, the what's in it for them is, hey, I want to mentor people, right? If that's the case, if you reach out to someone like that, hey, they're good with that. They're completely fine with that, right? They don't need anything else in exchange. They're just simply people who want to mentor and help other people in their job search and stuff like that, right? But even then, you got to clearly communicate a good message, folks, right? Because they need to see, even in that scenario, they need to see that them setting aside time to mentor you is not going to be a waste of their mentoring time, right? They want to make sure they're mentoring the right people, right? Ambitious people who are serious about success, people who communicate well, people who are, who appear like valuable individuals who they might want to, have in their network in the future. You still got to communicate all that stuff. So ultimately, again, comes down to the WIIFM, folks. So always keep that in mind. Everyone's favorite radio station is WIIFM, which means what's in it for me. And you got to think of, and when I say me, you got to put yourself in the shoes of the recipient. What's in it for them when you're asking for their time or their attention or whatever it is, right? So that's mistake number 4. That's not communicated in a lot of your messages. Now, number 5, right? Final tip number 5. In terms of the mistakes or missing components a lot of people have in their LinkedIn messaging when they're reaching out to individuals on LinkedIn is no clear call to action. right? A lot of you are not communicating a clear call to action. What do you want as a result of this message you're sending, right? What do you want, right? The intention is why you're reaching out. The call to action is what do you want, right? And I know I kind of touched on that when I was talking about the intention thing, but the call to action is a separate thing, folks. What do you want exactly? Like, what do you want as a result of the message? Do you want a phone call? Do you want I don't know, like a networking session? Do you want a mentor? Do you want job search tips and advice? Do you want this person to review your resume? What do you want, right? There's no clear. A lot of messages that I get, based on my experience working in recruitment, as well as also, working now as a IT job search coach. What's the intention, folks? I get a lot of messages. Hey, Dean, my name is so and so. I'm a software developer with 10 years experience, looking for your guidance. So what does that mean, folks? Like, what is the call to action, right? What are you trying to ask? What do you want? What do you want to happen from this point onwards? What's your ask? So this is another missing component and this in itself, folks, is enough to make people just skip over your message, because it's not clear like what you want, like what exactly do you want to occur from this point onwards, right? And simply because of that, like, and again, this comes down to, always assume the person on the other side is busy and make it very easy for them. Your job as the person sending the message is to make it as easy as possible for them to figure out if they can help you and what they can help you with and all of that stuff, right? But they can't do that if it's not clear. If it's not clear exactly, what you want to occur from this point onwards. So no clear intention. No clear call to action. That's the final missing component. So you got to be clear about what you want. Is it a phone call? Do you want to set and also if it's a phone call, what kind of a phone call? Like, are you looking for like a networking phone call? Are you looking to speak about a specific position you're interested in at the company? Are you looking for just a general discussion to introduce yourself? Are you looking for a discussion to figure out, more about the projects going on at the organization? Are you looking for a mentor, right? You need someone to mentor you. Is that your intention? So what's the call to action? Do you want a mentoring phone call? What's the intention, folks, right? So that's what a lot of people are missing in their messaging. Hey, shout out to my friend Brandon there on Instagram. Appreciate your comment there, Brandon. So folks, this is what's missing, right? So again, I'm going to review these 5 mistakes again, and then I'm going to share with you real quick a good structure all of you can follow in your LinkedIn messaging, right? So mistake number 1, no clear value proposition communicated in your message. You're not communicating your value as whatever you are, right? A developer, a business analyst, a project manager, program manager, systems administrator, whatever it is. You're just stating your title or your position, but you're not communicating your value. What's your value proposition, right? Google value proposition after this session, folks. Very important concept to understand. Mistake number 2, no clear intention. You're not clear about why you're reaching out, right? Why exactly you're reaching out. There's no clear intention. Mistake number 3, your message does not capture attention. It's not capturing attention, not making people read it and get curious about you and want to have a further conversation. That's a missing component. Mistake number 4 is there's no clearly communicated WIIFM. What's in it for the person you're reaching out to, right? What's in it for them? What's their favorite radio station? WIIFM. What's in it for me? That's what they're thinking. What's in it for me if I set aside time to talk to this person or network with them or get on a phone call with them, right? Is that clearly communicated? That's another missing component. Mistake number 5 is no call to action. Okay, you did everything else fine, but there's no call to action. What do you want from this point onwards? What do you want to happen as a result of the message? Is it a phone call? Is it a video call? Is it a session to set up a job search tips and advice or something? Is it mentorship you're looking for? Is it discussion about a specific position or a role that you're looking for? You got to communicate the call to action, folks, right? So before I get into the Q&A, and feel free, folks, any questions you have in regards to this, I want you to start putting them in the comments right now, or even anything not related to this. So any job search questions all of you folks have, feel free to put in the comments right now, because I'm going to get into the questions shortly. But a recommended structure for your LinkedIn messaging, folks, should be as follows. And you want to take this down. You want to take notes, right? It should have the following components. Number 1, greeting, right? Number 2, hook. The hook is capturing attention, right? Number 3, intention, right? And number 4, call to action, right? So you got to make sure it has these 4 components, right? Greeting, hook, intention, call to action. You got to make sure it has those 4 things, right? Now, the greeting is basically you just saying, it could be as simple as, "Hi, Dean." Like, that's it. That's the greeting. That's the most simplest part, right? Now, hook is the part where you have to capture attention so that they want to read further on in the message. And the hook could be your value proposition, or it could be some amazing achievements you had. A hook could actually even be not about you, but about the person you're reaching out to. The hook could be something you noticed on their profile. Could be something they mentioned about some achievement. Could be some post that they wrote, right? So the hook is basically that thing that captures their attention. So all of you watching need to do some brainstorming and figure out what's something I can mention as a hook that could capture the other person's attention. And don't tell me, "Oh yeah, I'm a business analyst with 8 years of experience." That doesn't capture anyone's attention, folks, especially not recruiters, right? Recruiters hear that line for, like every single day, like every hour, right? So you got to make sure that that is clearly that there is a clear hook in your messaging. We got a shout out here from Gurpreet. Hey, Gurpreet, nice to see you here. Thanks so much for tuning in. So, folks, make sure you follow Gurpreet, another great person to follow on LinkedIn. Provides a ton of job search tips and value. So make sure you follow Gurpreet as well. And thanks for tuning in, Gurpreet. Appreciate you tuning in. So number 2 is hook, guys. Your message has to capture attention, right? It's gotta be something that captures the attention of the person reading it. Third component is intention. Why are you reaching out? Like, what's your intention, right? That's the other part that needs to be included in your message. Why are you reaching out? What do you want, right? And component number 4 in your message should be call to action. What do you want to happen from this point onwards? Do you want a phone call? And what's the phone call? Like, what do you want to discuss on the phone call, right? Yeah. If it's a mentor you're reaching out to, hey, I want to, can we set aside 10 minutes for a mentoring call? So you got to be clear about what the call to action is. If you don't have a call to action, it's not going to be clear what you want or what you want to occur as a result of this message you're sending out to the person on LinkedIn, right? So you got to be clear, folks, right? So your message should have these 4 components. Again, greeting, it's got to be greeting. It's got to be hook. It's got to have a greeting. It's got to have a hook, something that captures attention. Number 3 is the call, the intention, right? What's your intention? Why are you reaching out? And number 4, the call to action. Gurpreet says, "Loving the hat. Where did you get it from?" Yeah, I appreciate that, Gurpreet. Yeah, so I actually ordered this hat from Vistaprint. I believe it's a Canadian firm. I've been buying stuff from them like for a number of years. Like, especially if you want customized stuff. So shout out to Vistaprint, by the way, and make sure you check it out. So it's a customized hat. Like, so I got this for like I think it was like 20 to $30 or something like that, Gurpreet. But yeah, you can upload your customized logo and stuff like that, and you can get it. So definitely, I love to see the HR superhero hat on you, Gurpreet. You should definitely check it out. So again, it's vistaprint.ca. I think it's .ca or .com, but check it out. Yeah, it's a great website. Abiyadun says, "Hey, Abiyadun, nice to see you here. Appreciate that." Abiyadun says, "I like that you mentioned the use of value proposition." Yeah, absolutely, Abiyadun. Definitely important, right? And before I get into the quick Q&A, folks, a quick example of a sample message you might use, right? And following these 4 components: greeting, hook, intention, call to action, right? So let's say you're reaching out to someone and they're like a senior person at an organization, and you want them to mentor you, right? Let's say you're looking for a mentor. So what's a good message that you can write? So you can say, let's say I'm the mentor, right? You're reaching out to me. You want mentoring on, I don't know, something, whatever. Let's just make up something as we go along, right? So your message might be, "Hey, Dean." So that's the greeting. Number 1, greeting, right? Now, hook. What's the hook? "Hey, Dean, I just participated on your LinkedIn live stream, right? So I was watching your video on how to send out a proper message on LinkedIn. And that really caught my attention because I'm currently, struggling with that in my job search." So that's a hook. That's a hook because it captures my attention. Why? Because I'm an IT job search coach. I coach people on their job search. So the fact that this person reaching out to me is messaging me about, firstly, tuning into my live stream, which I appreciate always, and that they're struggling in their job search, that captures my attention, right? So that's the hook. Number 3, intention, right? So Dean, the reason I'm reaching out is, again, as I mentioned, I'm kind of struggling with that in my job search, but I wanted to reach out and get your advice on, these what I'm doing wrong or right in my job search, and I need some tips and advice on that. That's the intention, right? Sorry, that's number 3. That's the intention. Why the person is reaching out. Now, number 4, call to action. What's the call to action? So Dean, I was wondering if you have maybe 10 to 15 minutes for us to get on a quick phone call. I definitely wanted to introduce myself and let you know a bit more about my current struggles in my job search and how maybe you can potentially help me in fixing that and figuring that stuff out. So again, simple message, folks. I just came up with that right now. So it has to have these clear components, right? So that example I gave you right now has those 4 components: greeting, hook, right? Capture attention. 3, intention, why they're reaching out. And number 4, call to action. What do you want? What do you want to occur beyond this point? So hope this information was helpful, folks. Let me know in the comments if this made sense, and let me know if you're going to be adapting this to your LinkedIn messaging strategy. You got to be implementing this and keeping this in mind when you're reaching out and messaging people. And again, no guarantees, folks. There's no guarantee every single person you reach out using this format is going to respond. What I do guarantee is it's going to increase your chances of getting responses from the right people. So make sure you use these, and make sure you avoid those mistakes that we talked about today, and make sure that you're you're putting this into use, right? So and let me know in the comments, folks, any job search questions you have. Let me know in the comments. I'm happy to answer any of your job search questions. Gurpreet says, stop messaging and saying, hi, I am X with X amount of experience in X. Here's my resume, and let's have a phone call where I can tell you more about yourself. Yeah, exactly, Gurpreet, right? I mean, it doesn't really capture attention. And folks, recruiters and HR people receive, similar messages in that format, like all the time, right? Like I can't even tell you, it's ridiculous. And the more you see those messages, the more bland they are, and it doesn't really stand out or capture attention, right? So it has to capture attention. Abiyadun says, you got to review your audience's profile, take interest in their journey. Absolutely, Abiyadun, completely agree with you on that. You got to do the legwork, folks. It's not you got to do the legwork and figure out who you're reaching out to, and take an interest in them, right? By showing an interest in them, they're more likely to want to get into communication with you, right? Nikhil says, hey, Dean, hey, nice to see you here, Nikhil. Appreciate you tuning in. I'm doing great, thanks. Hope you're doing great as well, Nikhil. And you're always liking and engaging with my stuff, so I really appreciate that. And thanks so much for tuning in, Nikhil. Great to see you here. So Gurpreet says, what's in it for you in this case? Yeah, so good question, Gurpreet. Yeah, absolutely. So what's in it for me, Gurpreet, is, again, I'm an IT job search coach, so I assist IT professionals in their job search. So by getting on a phone call or a video call with this person, it's possible they might be in need of my services, right? That's one of the possibilities. And the other possibilities is I'm building a relationship with my viewers, with my audience, right? So this person, in that example message I gave, this person actually tuned into my live stream. And by me getting on a phone call with them, hey, they get to see, this dude, Dean, is a real guy. He's a real dude. It seems like a good guy too. And he knows his stuff. And it's an opportunity for me to further add value to my viewers, right? Who might tune in and potentially do business with me, right? And allow me the opportunity to help them with their job search at some point. So that's what's in it for me. But yeah, it's a great question, Gurpreet, right? You got to always look at, folks, what's in it for the other person. That's what you always got to try and figure out. So Abiyadun says, asking questions that ties into their stories and emotions is a great hook. It shows you take interest in their journey. Yeah, absolutely, Abiyadun, right? And again, folks, remember, and here's another quote, right? I heard somewhere else, and I can't remember who said this, but it definitely relates to this as well, right? And why this is so powerful. Like, if you're able to tie in to their stories, right? The individual you're reaching out to, their stories, their emotions, why that's a great hook is, I remember someone said, I might not be the most interesting person in the world, but I am the person I am most interested in. Right? I'm going to repeat that. I might not be the most interesting person out there, but I am the person I am most interested in. Right? And while many people might not admit that that's the case with them, end of the day, folks, we are definitely most interested in ourselves, our own thoughts, our own experiences, our own feelings, emotions, and all that stuff. And even when we are connecting with other people, it's because we're able to connect with them based on our own values and beliefs and thoughts and experiences and all that stuff. So this is what you always got to figure out, right? And I'll be doing. That's why I completely agree with you, right? If you folks can figure out how you can connect with the other person based on some them, right? Something that's of interest to them, their experiences, their challenges, their wants, their needs, their dreams, their wishes, their ambitions, their challenges, their projects, their issues, their concerns, their worries, their profession, their skills, technology, and all this stuff. There's so much stuff, folks, right? Actually, you know what? As an exercise, what I want all of you to do is take a sheet of paper and write down what are all the different ways you can connect to someone else from their perspective, right? Skills, technologies, education, certifications, what else? Industries, experiences, countries, cities. I want all of you to list all these various angles that you can take when you're trying to connect with people, right? If you want to build a relationship with them and stuff, right? So do that as an exercise. I'm pretty sure that'll help all of you. And we have another comment here from Mansi. Excuse me. First of all, shout out to Mansi. Thanks so much for tuning in, Mansi. Appreciate you watching. So Mansi says, "Hi Dean, I got a good learning from this live stream where I was going wrong and how I can do things differently while connecting with recruiters." Yeah, no worries, Mansi. I'm glad to hear that, and great to hear that as well. Now, quick caveat, right? Quick exception to some of these things I've been talking about today. Especially when you're reaching out to recruiters, folks, you have to be extremely clear about your intention, right? If you're reaching out to a recruiter, you're trying to do the personal connection thing, it's going to fall flat. It's not going to work. It is not going to work, folks, right? And the reason for that is the role of a recruiter is highly specialized. The only thing a recruiter does all day, every day is recruit for active positions that they're actively recruiting on. That's the sole focus of a recruiter. So if you try to send out messages saying, "Hey, I noticed this on your profile. You went to this school or that school. I went to that school as well," and things like that. Hey, maybe some recruiters might respond to you, right? But do not leave the message as just that. You wanna include how you would be a person of interest to them, because they can potentially place you with one of their clients or internally at their company. So exception is with recruiters, you got to be very, very direct, to the point, and concise. So even though it's fine to mention personal stuff, personal connections, you want to, connect with them over like personal stuff that you noticed on their profile or something, definitely do that. But do not leave it at just that. You want to make sure you're very direct and concise and to the point with recruiters, because again, recruiting is a highly specialized skill set. I'm, as a former or recent ex-recruiter, I can tell you that highly specialized. All we do every day is recruit, find talent, and place them at our clients or organizations that we're recruiting for. So if you want to capture a recruiter's attention, you have to position yourself as someone they can place within their organization or for their clients, right? So keep in mind, that's the exception. Tripti says, "Hey, shout out to Tripti. Thanks for tuning in, Tripti." Tripti says, "Valuable insights on how to approach new connections here. I have been following the wrong path since last 4 months. I feel good that I joined this live session." Thank you, Dean. Well, I appreciate that, Tripti, and I'm happy to hear that you got value out of this. And folks, look, and again, shout out to Tripti. Thanks for sharing that, and happy to hear that you got value out of it. So, folks, for those of you tuning in for the first time, everything I share with you, folks, it's not based on some book I read or some TV show I watched. It's not based on some assumptions I'm making. Anything I'm going to share, I'm going to be sharing with you folks on my channel, right? Whether it's these live streams or my posts or my content, my videos, it's all based on my 8+ years working in IT recruitment, right? As a recruiter. So I can tell you, I'm going to share with you information that's going to push aside all the BS, all the fluff, all that fancy dancy stuff that sounds good but has no real value in the practical real world. I'm not going to be talking about any of that stuff, folks. If you want to get the real deal on recruitment and interview cycles and job search cycles and all that stuff, I'm the guy. I'm the right guy. I want you to tune in every week. So mark your calendars right now. Every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern time zone, I'm going to go live on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Instagram, IG. Shout out to everyone on IG out there. I'm going to be going here live every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern time zone, folks. So mark your calendars right now. I'm going to be sharing with you the real deal every week regarding the job search, right? And I'm going to be sharing practical strategies. I'm not going to be talking about utopia or some fantasy world where hiring is perfect. Fact is, hiring is not perfect, folks. And I know that because I speak to a lot of frustrated job seekers who don't get responses from recruiters, don't get responses from hiring managers, don't get responses despite the number of effort, everyone's putting into their job search. I hear about it all the time, right? And it's not some fantasy world I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be talking to you about how to navigate the current environment as things are. And as the current environment improves and changes and things get better, folks, that's when my advice is going to change. So my advice is going to be pragmatic and for the times. When the times change, so will my advice, folks. And I'm going to be changing my advice when the environment changes. But until then, I'm going to be sharing with all of you folks who are putting so much effort into your job search and hustling and grinding it out and facing that rejection, those disappointments, rejections, no response, and all that stuff. I'm going to be helping you with arming you with tools to navigate the current environment as it is. All right. So that's my commitment to all of you folks out there. So look, don't give up. Keep taking action. And by the way, you can watch the replay because I know I shared a lot of information. So the replay is available immediately on LinkedIn, on my YouTube channel for those of you tuning on YouTube. Same thing on Facebook, right? You can watch the replay. Take notes, folks. Stay close to me. I'm going to be sharing a lot of great information to help all of you in your job search. Keep pushing through. Keep taking action. Taking action is the key, folks. You got to take action. So don't just listen to this stuff and say, hey, this Dean dude seems like a positive guy. That's great if I'm positive, but if I'm just positive, I haven't really made a difference in your life, folks. How I'm going to make a difference is by you applying what I'm talking about. So I want all of you to make the commitment to put into action what I spoke about today into your job search. That's the only way I'm going to add value. Me being positive or motivating you, that's not going to make a difference in your life. What's going to make a difference is me sharing actionable tips, advice, strategies, and pragmatic solutions that'll help you navigate your current job search. But it's not going to work if you don't put it into action, folks. All right. So, folks, thank you so much for your attention. Hope everyone got great insights here. I do see a few more questions here. So, sorry, Tripti, I read your comment already. Gurpreet says, can you also share the name of designations in Canada, direct hiring managers that are potential decision makers for business analyst positions in Canada based on your experiences? Short answer, no, Gurpreet. I'm not going to do that because that's folks, you got to do your legwork, right? I'm not going to go through all 24,000 of my connections, Gurpreet, and figure out who's going to be helping you with business analyst roles, right? It's just not practical. It's just not possible. It's just not feasible. What you got to do, Gurpreet, at your end, again, is do the legwork, right? You got to do some research. You got to yourself identify individuals at these organizations that might be hiring managers and decision makers for BA positions. Never said the job search is going to be easy, folks. I'm not going to be sharing easy advice with you, right? If you want easy advice, there's plenty of easy advice out there. I'm going to encourage all of you guys to put in the work, hustle, grind, do the legwork, right? So Gurpreet, what I advise you to do is do the legwork, do the research, identify all those decision makers, and put into play what I talked about today, the four components of the message, right? So all the best to you, Gurpreet, and thanks for tuning in. Gaurav says the WIIFM analogy really helps. I haven't been adding that to my messages, and I will try to do so from now on. Thanks a lot, Dean. Hey, no worries, Gaurav. I appreciate that. Hey, look, folks, none of us knew this stuff until we learned about it, right? Same with me. I was not born with this knowledge, right? This happens through trial, error, and working in recruitment has definitely helped a lot. So glad to hear that you found that valuable, folks. Yeah, so it's very, very important, folks. WIIFM, always remember that. What's in it for me, as in what's in it for the other person. Rocky, hey, nice to see you here, Rocky. Appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate the 2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up back to you as well, Rocky. Kanchan says, thank you so much, Dean. Really informative session. Hey, no worries, Kanchan. Shout out to Kanchan. Thanks so much for tuning in. Eniola says, thank you, Dean, for these insights. No worries, Eniola. Good to see you and appreciate your comment. Vrutika says, thank you, Dean. Really helpful session. No worries, Vrutika. Appreciate you tuning in and for your comment. And we got VD says, thank you for the session. No worries, VD. Appreciate you tuning in. So, folks, thanks so much for tuning in. Appreciate your attention. Hope the information was helpful. Make sure you apply it. And mark your calendars every Wednesday, every Wednesday, every Wednesday, unless there's a zombie apocalypse. Every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern time zone, I go live on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Periscope, on Instagram live as well. Whatever your preference is, I want you to tune in so I can keep sharing with you these valuable tips and advice to help you in your job search. All right, folks, that's it for me. I'm hungry. It's lunchtime. I'm going to take off, but everyone have a wonderful day. And let me know what topics you want me to talk about in the future as well. Feel free to send me a private message. Have a good one, everyone. Take care. Bye.